People have been asking me what I think of the characterization of Dr. Eggman in the Sonic movies, so instead of responding to a bunch of different comments, I figured I'd go more in depth about my thoughts here. When it was revealed that Jim Carrey was going to play Dr. Robotnik, I was admittedly pretty skeptical. Don't get me wrong, I love Jim Carrey, but I was worried that casting someone like him meant that Robotnik was going to be an absolute joke in the films. But when the movie actually came out, I was pleasantly surprised by the accuracy of his portrayal, even if he was still pretty silly. Eggman's signature entitlement and ego was visible the moment he made his first appearance. Him immediately demanding to be in charge communicates to the audience that he both sees himself as above everyone else and is also very power hungry, so it makes his jump to seeking world domination 100% believable. Despite Jim Carrey bringing his Jim Carrey performance to the character, movie Eggman is still an excellent villain. His presence is intimidating, and the other characters actually take him seriously, which is something I miss seeing in the games in the 2010s era. If you watched my last video, you would remember that I said Eggman has a hidden loneliness, and I think that loneliness is shown wonderfully in the films through some one-off lines in his relationship with Agent Stone, especially after movie 3. Movie Eggman, like game Eggman, was seemingly neglected in his childhood, and his actions could easily be chalked up to that. He becomes so caught up in his goals that he completely disregards when the validation he's been seeking is right in his face, Agent Stone. Agent Stone as a character is another video in itself, but his genuine love for Eggman, which constantly gets disregarded, really highlights Eggman's ignorance and ego. Eggman took Stone for granted and viewed him less as another person in his life and more as just an extension of himself, but he still wants to keep him specifically around, so there's still some hints that there's some level of actual care there for Stone, even if he doesn't think it himself. When the one family member Eggman thought truly loved him both broke his heart and sentenced him to death, he was finally able to realize what he had in Stone as he awaited his doom. Some people have criticized this moment, but I still think this is in character for Eggman. His ego is still present as he announces to the world that he's saving them, but now a more subtle character trait of his loneliness, is front and center. Even though Jim Carrey will likely return for movie 4, if this was the actual death of Eggman in the movie canon, I think it would be a pretty satisfying conclusion to his character. Anyway, I could probably go way more in depth, but I don't want to make this video too long. To sum it up, I think the films did an excellent job at portraying Dr. Eggman accurately, and it's probably one of my favorite versions of the character.